What's up, everybody? And today we're checking out US military strikes Venezuelan drug boat in the Caribbean, killing 11. I'm hearing a lot of stuff at the moment about the US invading Venezuela, and there's some beef going on there. So we're going to check it out. We're going to see what it's all about and assess the situation. This is going to be an interesting one, so sit back and get relaxed. Before we get started, though, let's check out the channel sponsor, Chug. 10% off, link down below for the best drinking vessel in the world. Handmade here in the UK by a small business using sustainable materials. They are legitimately fantastic. They will last you a lifetime. They're really, really high quality. Free customization, free bag, 10% off, link down below. Ships to America. Get yourself one of these bad boys. They're amazing. They're amazing. Get it. Also, if you haven't already, check out Morale. We are going to be launching this at the end of this month. I'm getting emails constantly now about the production of the cans because I signed off on the drink. It is going to be released at the end of this month. And if you want to be part of the movement, if you don't know, the idea is kind of like all these other big drink companies, right? Red Bull, Monster, all these other ones where they take their profits and they sponsor they sponsor extreme sports. We want to sponsor outdoor activities. So we want to take money made from these drinks and start sponsoring things like kids' forest schools and bushcraft events and hikes and just getting people outside as much as possible, disconnecting from the online world and reconnecting with the real world outside. I think it's really important, especially for the next generation of kids coming out here who are just obsessed with screens. We need to get them outside. We need to get them outside. If that aligns with your ethos, check out the Instagram right here. I didn't realize, but the Instagram QR code in a few of the other videos is actually the website QR code. It was just doubled. No, this is now the Instagram one. Go check out the Instagram. Be part of the movement. If it's not your cup of tea, don't bother. We want to really make a tight-knit community of people. We don't want to have people who are not really interested in that thing. So if you really are want to be part of the movement and see what's going on, learn more about the outdoors and get tips and tricks about getting outside, go and check out the Instagram. Other than that, let's check this out. The video I've got is by PBS NewsHour, just because they've done a bit more information on it. Probably will get copyright if I do this, so I'm going to have to pause it every now and again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, because I will probably get copyrighted for this, so whatever.
President Trump announced late today that the United States has sunk a boat after it left Venezuela carrying drugs. It is the first known military strike in the region since President Trump ordered an increased military presence in the Caribbean.
So this has become quite the thing, this Venezuela beef that Trump has with it. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know all the intricacies. I'm learning about this just as quickly as you're learning about this, so we're going to try and see what the vibe is. I don't see... Some people are saying that the US is going to invade Venezuela and stuff like that. I don't see that happening. But I do start thinking that there's going to be a bigger military presence there.
Schifrin's following all this, and he joins me now. So, Nick, tell us, what do we know about this strike?
President Trump said that the U.S. Navy operated against that boat that you said it was operated by Tren de Aragua. That has been designated by the administration as a foreign terrorist organization. And the president posted this video on Truth Social this afternoon saying 11 members...
Yeah, that's definitely them being killed. There you go.
Of the group were sailing toward the United States carrying illegal drugs, and attached to the video he wrote, quote, "Please let this serve as notice to anyone even thinking about bringing drugs into the United States of America. Beware. Thank you for your attention to this matter."
Is it so weird that the president of a country can tweet? Like, just think about how weird this reality is right now. I'm not talking about just Trump. Just any leader of any country is able to go on social media and just write anything. It's almost as if they've always got a platform to give speech. Like back in the day, if a prime minister of the UK or president of the US or whatever had to address the nation, they would have to do a huge conference. They would have a speech. They would do all this stuff. Now they can just tweet. Isn't that mental that people can do that? Absolutely insane. Some people will say it's a good thing. Some people will say it's a bad thing. Listen, let's read the rest of this as well, though. Early this morning, on my orders, U.S. military force conducted a kinetic strike against positively identified Tren de Agua narco-terrorists in the Southcom area of responsibility. TDA is designated foreign terrorist organization operating under the control of Nicolas Maduro. responsible for mass murdering, drug trafficking, sex trafficking, and acts of violence and terror across the United States and Western Hemisphere. The strike occurred while the terrorists were at sea in international waters. That's really important. Transporting illegal narcotics heading to the United States. The strike resulted in 11 terrorists killed in action. No US forces were harmed in this strike. Does make me wonder, could they have intercepted it? Did they have to, or is this Trump turning around and being like, look, we just want to show a force here and really show how serious we're being about this?
Multiple exclamation points. Now, as you said, Amna, President Trump this summer ordered a large Navy and Marine deployment to the area. You see some of the ships there. A Navy official says it includes destroyers, cruisers, as well as smaller ships capable of launching Marines onto shore.
Launching Marines onto shore. Whoo! You heard that correctly. Launching Marines onto shore.
Total, it's thousands of service members, including submarines. The administration describes it as a drug mission and uses the language of war, as Secretary of State Marco Rubio did today.
I feel like talking about this might be a bit controversial. What's everyone's feeling about the whole war on drugs? Because I feel like it's done more bad than it has good, the war on drugs. Don't get me wrong. Drugs are bad, okay? Like, drugs are bad, obviously. But I've also heard the argument that legalizing all drugs will help the US monitor it better. But then again, you say that, but then look at some of the opioids and is it what's the ones that people are taking on the streets in the US right now, and they're just turning into zombies, and they're legal prescribed drugs, and they're taking them and they're becoming addicted. So it's like maybe it wouldn't work. I'm a big believer, personally, that if it grows out the ground, it should be legal. But if it's refined, then it shouldn't. Mushrooms, in my opinion, should be legal. And marijuana, the devil's lettuce, I think should be legal. I'm not saying I take it. I'm not saying that. But if it grows out the ground, if you can grow it in your garden, I don't think it should be illegal. However, if you have to manufacture it and it's synthetic or it's refined, then it should be. I'd love to know your thoughts. I'm not an expert on this stuff. I'm not an expert. I just hear people's opinions and try and make my own opinion on it. But at the same time, you don't have to have an opinion on everything, because even though the world thinks you're supposed to have an opinion on absolutely everything, and if you don't have an opinion, you're the enemy, in reality is you don't need an opinion on something that you don't really know that much about. But if you do have an opinion, let me know in the comments.
We destroyed a drug boat that left Venezuela, operated by a designated narco-terrorist organization, which is what these are. And he's been clear that the days of acting with impunity and having an engine shot down or a couple drugs grabbed off a boat, those days are over. Now we are going to wage combat against drug cartels that are flooding American streets and killing Americans.
There you go. I mean, I feel like we don't have to watch this whole spiel and chatting by PBS. I am guessing that one of my favorite websites, Ground News, let me pull Ground News up, probably has some information on this. I just spelled Venezuela. Venezuela. There you go. Oh, just, yeah, there we go. What was that? Where's it go? Here we go. Trump ordered strike on suspected drug boat to send message to Rubio. On Tuesday, the U.S. military conducted a strike on the boat in international Caribbean waters, killing 11. We already know that. The strike followed Trump's administration's designation of, we already know that they have been classified as a terrorist organization. By the way, if you don't know what Ground News is, really good. You can see the news here and who's covering it, so you can know if it's more left-leaning or right-leaning. Obviously, this bit of news here is very central, right? You can see that right here. There's not much of a bias, which, by the way, Ground News is fantastic. I do have, actually, I'm going to leave a link down below if you want to subscribe to Ground News, because it's completely subscriber funded. It's brilliant. It's won awards for it and everything. You can get 40% off. I'll leave a link down below for it. Secretary of State Marco Rubio justified the strike, stating the vessel posed an imminent threat and vowed continued military action against the narco-terrorist group. The strike marks a significant escalation. I'd love to know what you all think. Are we starting to see some sort of distraction away from all the other stuff that's going on, right? There's scares right now of Trump's health. We had all that debacle over the weekend about him maybe not being around anymore. I thought it was just people being silly, which it was in the end. There's obviously the whole Epstein stuff as well. Like, is this a distraction? Is this him trying to do something? Or is this him genuinely trying to make a difference and genuinely trying to do something good? Is it too much of too much force used unnecessarily, killing these 11 people? Or is it something that could have intercepted? Or do you think having a bit of an iron fist there and really stomping down on this will benefit America and the drugs that are being put on the streets? Because I tell you what, I drove around America for 2 years in a school bus. For 2 years, right? Beautiful. Loved it. Amazing. If I ever went into cities, there was always 1 or 2 streets that were just horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. And I think the worst place I saw was California. It seemed like you were either driving a Tesla or you were homeless. There was no middle. There was no middle. You're either doing really well or you are on the streets. And some of these streets I've noticed in Arizona, in California, where else did I see it? Florida. There would just be streets full of people just passed out on the floor. And I was living in Maine for 7 years. 7 years I lived in Maine. And if you've ever been to Maine, Portland, Maine's beautiful. I love that. I love that city. And there's a big park there. When I first moved there, park was beautiful. You could walk around. It was great. And at the end of that 7 years of being there, you didn't want to go anywhere near the park. It was like a tent village. And it was like a city on its own of tents of people just lay about and people on drugs. And it was horrible to see. And so I can also see the argument where people are like, we need to stop this. Let's really make a big difference here. But I'd love to know your thoughts. This is a discussion. I'll leave a link down below to Ground News. You can get 40% off. You can check out Chug as well if you want 10% off one of them, and check out Morale. I'll leave links around down below for everything. I'd love to know your thoughts. Also, yeah, by the way, if you do click them links, it does help support the channel. It does help us get that news out. But I'd love to know your thoughts. Is this too much power? Too much? Is it a distraction? Or is it the right amount at the right time? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Other than that, we'll be keeping a close eye on this Venezuela situation on this channel and seeing if it starts to escalate. We're seeing lots of skirmishes around the world at the moment, right? Lots of different things happening all over the place. And it feels like every week there's a bit of news, bit of military news. So we'll be keeping an eye on this, which is going to be interesting. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time, I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.